Today on In the Wood Yard, we're going to be processing some pine and some cherry. This is the pine. And we've got a guy coming who's interested in buying a BLOCKBUSTER processor that wanted to run one before he orders one. And he was actually interested in the 14-12, but I have the 15-20 here, and he's going to try it out. So it's very similar, just a little more advanced, a little bigger. And he had never run a processor before. He is from about an hour and a half away from me, and he's got a bunch of acreage and there's a lot of wood, and he wants to start selling firewood because he's got access to hundreds of cords a year, and he wanted to get a processor. And his name is Brian. He's actually an electrician, and so he came and spent about a half a day here, and he processed a bunch of wood. Kind of talked him through it, and I thought he did an absolutely excellent job considering he had never run a processor before. He's very good at operating and picking up very quick, way faster than I was the first time. And he kind of gets it right off the bat, and I just gave him a few tips on how to do it. And so this was over like a month and a half ago that he came and did this, because this video is way out of order. I just didn't get to editing it until now. And I had just talked to Jake at BLOCKBUSTER, and he told me that Brian actually ordered this same machine. So that's pretty cool that he got to come run it, and then he ordered this machine, and so he'll be getting it. So you're going to get to see him run it, and I just assisted and kind of did the resplits and loaded the live deck and all the little things, just having extra hands, whereas normally by myself I'd be reaching around and grabbing and pulling these pieces back through. And if you got an extra set of hands, no matter what you're doing, whether it's bucking logs or if you're splitting logs or whatever it is you're doing, it's just nice to have extra hands. And he did a real good job operating and showed him some little tricks. Here we're going to do one where 2 logs dropped in. I'm going to show him how to hold on to one and then have the other one go back. You'll see about kinds of little things we did here. When you get 2 guys, it's kind of nice. And so I'm just grabbing the pickaroon here. I'm going to grab the one, and then he's going to run it in reverse, and we're going to back up the piece that's fell in with it, because you don't ever want 2 pieces at a time being cut with the saw blade, because you get one that'll tumble on you. Unless they're both clamped, they just don't, it doesn't work well. So you can only have one in there at a time, because it'll tumble on you and shoot all over the place, and it's kind of a dangerous thing. So yeah, there's a bunch of pine, there's spruce and some balsam, and I think there's some red pine in here, a little bit of everything. Just softwoods. We're kind of doing this whole pile, and then we're going to hit a little bit of cherry. And he wanted to get a good couple hours under his belt of running it, just to kind of get a feel for it, so he knew what he was dealing with. And so I'm just kind of helping him out here, and I think he had a good time. He did a good job, and it was a lot of fun. So you're going to get to see about a half hour's worth here of us working. That was actually more like about 3 or 4 hours of time that he was there. But it was kind of nice. I got to be able to run the camera, and you guys can see everything happening. You can get kind of close up and do some better photography. I always tell people, if I've got just the camera in my hand and I'm not running a chainsaw, I'm not running a splitter, I'm not running the processor, I can do a pretty cool job of getting some nice footage and showing all the different functions on different machines. It works pretty good. So besides that, I had one camera, my camera in my hand, in one hand, and then the other hand I was able to grab chunks and then do resplits, and then obviously reload the live deck and things like that. So hope you enjoy this. You're going to get to see somebody else run the machine for a change here. It's pretty cool. Now, he had called BLOCKBUSTER and told them he was interested, and they told him that I was available if he wanted to go run it. And the way it works is that if someone wants to run a machine that they're interested in buying one, they contact BLOCKBUSTER, and then they contact me, and then we set up a date basically. And they have insurance coverage for people that come and are serious buyers. They have a policy that they put on there, which covers my butt, because we don't really want anybody getting hurt. So I don't have insurance on the actual machine, so if someone's interested, they got to go through BLOCKBUSTER to make sure that they're covered in case somebody gets injured, because I don't want to basically lose everything because somebody gets hurt running a machine. So it's a pretty nice setup that they've got. You just got to go through BLOCKBUSTER. So if anybody in the area is interested ever in running a machine, they're close by, they can do that. So anyway, here you go. You get to see a bunch of wood being smallerized today.
Bye.